The rehearsal had been going for 6 hours. That's what the backup dancers would remember later. 6 hours of Michael Jackson stopping them mid-step, mid-spin, mid-breath, insisting they do it again and again and again until the move wasn't just right, until it was perfect. It was August 1988. The Bad World Tour was in its second year. They were rehearsing at a soundstage in Burbank, preparing for the upcoming European leg. 30 dancers, musicians, crew members, all orbiting around Michael, who moved through the space like a force of nature. He was 30 years old, the biggest star on the planet. Thriller had sold more copies than any album in history. Bad was dominating the charts. He could fill stadiums, make governments negotiate for his performances, command any price, any venue, any audience. But right now, in this rehearsal space, he was frustrated. "No, no, no," Michael said, stopping the music for the 15th time. "You're not feeling it. You're just executing the moves. I need you to feel it." The lead dancer, a woman named Tasha, who'd worked with Michael for 3 years, tried to hide her exhaustion. "Michael, we've been at this since 9 this morning. Maybe we should take a break." "We'll take a break when it's right," Michael said. Not angry, never angry, but immovable. One of the younger dancers, a kid named Marcus who was 19 and thrilled just to be there, raised his hand tentatively. "Michael? Yeah? Can I ask you something?" "What?" "How do you know when it's right? How do you know when a move has feeling?" Michael stopped. He looked at Marcus like he'd asked the most profound question in the world. "You want to know how I know?" "Yes, sir." Michael smiled. "Come with me." He led the entire group out of the rehearsal space, down a hallway, through a door marked Studio B. The dancers followed, confused. This wasn't part of the schedule. Michael walked to a television monitor on a rolling cart. He pressed play on a VCR. The screen flickered to life. Grainy footage, black and white, a stage, an audience in formal wear, and then a figure in a tuxedo, moving across the stage with a fluidity that didn't seem entirely human. "Who is that?" Marcus asked. Michael didn't answer. He just watched the screen, transfixed. The figure on the screen started to dance. Tap dancing, at first. Then the taps became percussion. The feet became instruments. The body became rhythm made visible. And then the figure started to sing, a voice that was smooth and powerful and full of so much joy it was almost painful to hear. "That's Sammy Davis Jr., Tasha whispered. Michael nodded, never taking his eyes from the screen. They watched for 10 minutes. Sammy performing I've Gotta Be Me on some variety show from the 60s. Dancing, singing, commanding the stage with an ease that made it look like breathing. When it ended, Michael turned off the monitor. "That's what I mean by feeling," he said quietly. "That's what I'm looking for." He looked at the group. Sammy made it look effortless, like he wasn't trying. But I guarantee you, he worked harder than any of us have ever worked. Because making it look effortless is the hardest thing in the world. Michael sat down on the edge of the stage. The dancers gathered around him. "I met Sammy once," Michael said. "I was 14. The Jackson 5 were performing at the same venue where he was headlining. I watched him from the wings. I thought I was good. We all did. We were hot. We were selling records. People were screaming for us." He smiled. "And then Sammy went on, and I realized I didn't know anything. I was a kid playing at being a performer. He was an artist." "What made him different?" Tasha asked. Michael thought for a moment. "He gave everything. Every performance, like it was the last one he'd ever do. Like there were people in that audience who'd never seen anything beautiful before and he was going to make sure they saw it that night." He stood up. "That's what I want from you, from us, from this show. I want people to leave feeling like they witnessed something they'll never forget." Marcus raised his hand again. "Michael, is Sammy still performing?" Michael's face changed, became sad. "No, he's sick, cancer. He's at home." "Have you seen him recently?" Michael shook his head. "I've been meaning to. But the tour, the schedule," he stopped. "That's just an excuse, isn't it?" The room was quiet. Michael looked at his watch. It was almost 4 p.m. He made a decision. "We're done for today. Go home. Rest. We'll pick this up tomorrow." The dancers exchanged confused glances. Michael Jackson never ended rehearsal early. "Michael, are you okay?" Tasha asked. "Yeah, I need to do something. Something I should have done a long time ago." 40 minutes later, Michael Jackson was sitting in the back of a limousine, heading toward the Hollywood Hills. He hadn't called ahead, hadn't made arrangements. He'd just told his driver, "Take me to Sammy Davis Jr.'s house." His security team had scrambled to keep up. This wasn't on the schedule. This wasn't protocol. But when Michael decided something, you didn't argue. They pulled up to a modest home on a quiet street. Not the mansion you'd expect for someone of Sammy's stature. Just a nice house. Normal. Michael got out. His security moved to follow. "Wait here," Michael said. "Michael, we can't." "Wait here." He walked to the front door and knocked. A woman answered. Altovice, Sammy's wife. She looked tired, worn down by months of watching her husband die slowly. Her eyes went wide. "Michael Jackson?" "Mrs. Davis, I'm sorry to come by without calling. I wanted to see Sammy. If that's okay." Altovice's eyes filled with tears. "He talks about you. He watches your videos. He tells everyone you're the future." "Can I see him?" "He's weak. The cancer." Her voice broke. "But yes, please, it would mean everything to him." She led Michael through the house. It was filled with photographs. Sammy with Frank Sinatra, with Dean Martin, with presidents and activists and legends. A life documented in black and white. They stopped at a bedroom door. Altovice knocked softly. "Baby, you have a visitor." A weak voice from inside. "Tell them I'm not doing interviews." "It's not a reporter, it's Michael Jackson." Silence. Then, "Michael who?" Altovice smiled through her tears. "Michael Jackson. The Michael Jackson." More silence. Then, "You're kidding." "I'm not." "Send him in. And Allie? Help me sit up. I need to look presentable." The man in the bed didn't look like the figure Michael had watched on that grainy videotape. Sammy Davis Jr. was 64 years old. The cancer had ravaged him. He was skeletal. His famous energy dimmed to a flicker. But when Michael walked in, Sammy's one good eye lit up. "Michael Jackson," Sammy said, his voice raspy. "In my bedroom. My wife's going to be jealous." Michael laughed despite himself. Even now, Sammy was performing, making the moment lighter. "Mr. Davis." "Sammy, please, Mr. Davis was my father." Michael pulled a chair close to the bed. "Sammy, I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. You're a busy man. Biggest star in the world. I understand." "That's not an excuse." Sammy waved his hand weakly. "Forget it. You're here now. That's what matters." They sat in silence for a moment. Michael didn't know what to say. How do you talk to someone who's dying? Someone who'd been larger than life? "I showed my dancers one of your performances today," Michael said finally. "From the 60s. You were doing I've Gotta Be Me." Sammy smiled. "That old thing?" "It was perfect. Every move. Every note. I was trying to explain to them what I meant by performing with feeling. And I realized the only way to show them was to show them you." Sammy's eye got wet. "That's the nicest thing anyone said to me in a long time." "It's true. You're the reason I do what I do. You and Jackie Wilson and James Brown. But mostly you." "Why me?" "Because you made me believe it was possible. A black kid from Gary, Indiana, watching you on TV. Watching you break down walls. Watching you refuse to be limited. You showed me there was no ceiling." Sammy reached out his hand. Michael took it. It was frail. The bones too close to the surface. "Can I tell you something?" Sammy asked. "Anything." "I'm scared." Michael squeezed his hand. "Of dying? Of being forgotten? Of all of it meaning nothing? The work, the struggle, the performances. What if 50 years from now, nobody knows who Sammy Davis Jr. was? Michael leaned forward. Sammy, you changed the world. You integrated stages. You broke barriers. You showed people what was possible. So did a lot of people, and most of them are forgotten. But you won't be. How do you know? Michael smiled. Because I'm going to make sure of it. Sammy looked at him. What does that mean? It means I'm going to steal from you. Every show I do, every video I make, I'm going to take what you taught me and I'm going to show it to a new generation. And when people ask me where I learned to move like that, where I learned to perform like that, I'm going to tell them, I learned it from Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy's face crumpled. Tears ran down his cheeks. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do, because somebody did it for you. Somebody passed it down to you, and you're passing it to me. And I'll pass it to whoever comes after me. That's how we live forever, Sammy. Not through our own memories, through the people we inspire. Sammy pulled Michael's hand closer. You're a good kid, Michael. Don't let them change you. Don't let the fame eat you. Stay good. I'll try. And Michael, one more thing. Yeah? Moonwalk for me. Michael laughed. What? I've seen it on TV. That thing you do. The moonwalk. I want to see it in person. One old dancer to another. Michael stood up. In this small bedroom, in front of this dying legend, and he moonwalked, backward across the carpet, smooth, effortless, defying physics. Sammy laughed. Really laughed. A sound that seemed impossible from someone so weak. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, Sammy said. How do you do it? Years of practice, and stealing from the best. Who'd you steal that from? Michael grinned. You. That tap routine you did on the 1967 Emmy Awards, where you made it look like you were moving forward while actually moving backward. That's where I got the idea. Sammy's eye widened. I'll be damned. I didn't even realize. That's the point. You were so good, you didn't even know what you were giving people. But I saw it, and I took it. And now millions of people think it's mine. But it's yours, Sammy. It's always been yours. Michael stayed for 2 hours. They talked about performances, about the pressure of fame, about music and dance and what it meant to be an artist. And when Michael finally stood to leave, Sammy held onto his hand for an extra moment. Thank you, Sammy said, for coming, for remembering, for caring. Thank you for everything you gave me. As Michael walked to the door, Sammy called out one more time. Michael, yeah? When you perform tomorrow night? When you do that moonwalk in front of 50,000 people? Yeah? Remember who you stole it from. Michael smiled. Always. Michael left the house and got back in the limousine. His security team noticed he was crying. They didn't ask why. When he arrived back at the soundstage, the dancers were still there. They hadn't left. They'd been waiting for him. Michael? Tasha asked. Are you okay? Michael wiped his eyes. I went to see Sammy. The room went quiet. How is he? Marcus asked. Dying, but still fighting, still trying to perform, even from a bed. Michael walked to the center of the stage. Tomorrow, we're going to dedicate our performance to him, and we're going to give it everything, not because it's good for the show, not because it'll sell tickets, but because somewhere, a man who gave his entire life to this art form is watching, and he deserves to see us do it right. The dancers nodded. Now, Michael said, let's run it again, from the top. And this time I want you to think about Sammy. Think about what it means to perform like every show is your last. Like the audience has never seen beauty before. Like you're not just dancing, you're keeping a legacy alive. The music started, and they danced. And this time, they felt it. Sammy Davis Jr. died on May 16, 1990. Michael Jackson was at the funeral. He spoke briefly, told the story of their last meeting, told everyone that Sammy's legacy would live on. And he kept his promise. For the rest of his career, whenever interviewers asked Michael about his influences, he always mentioned Sammy, always gave credit, always made sure people knew where he'd learned to dance with feeling. In 1995, during the History World Tour, Michael added a tribute to Sammy in the middle of his show, a video montage of Sammy performing. Then Michael would come out and do a routine that deliberately echoed Sammy's style. Millions of kids who'd never heard of Sammy Davis Jr. learned his name because Michael Jackson refused to let them forget. And every time Michael moonwalked, every single time, he thought about that afternoon in a bedroom in the Hollywood Hills, when a dying legend laughed at a magic trick, and two performers, separated by decades, connected through the thing that mattered most: the work, the art, the eternal conversation between those who came before and those who come after. Years later, one of Michael's dancers asked him a question during rehearsal. "Michael, you've said Sammy Davis Jr. was a huge influence. What did he teach you that nobody else did?" Michael thought for a long moment. "He taught me that performance isn't about you. It's about what you leave behind. It's about the kid watching from the wings who doesn't know they're a performer yet. It's about giving them permission to dream. Did you get that from watching him perform?" "No," Michael said quietly. "I got that from watching him die." The dancer didn't understand. He was in bed, dying of cancer, no audience, no stage, no lights, and he still asked me to moonwalk for him. Because even then, even at the end, he wanted to witness something beautiful. He wanted to be reminded why any of this matters. Michael's voice got softer. "That's what I think about now when I'm tired, when I want to quit. When I think it doesn't matter, I think about Sammy, lying in that bed, laughing at a dance move. And I remember, this isn't about me. It's about everyone who'll watch long after I'm gone." He looked at his dancers. "That's what Sammy taught me. That we're just caretakers. We hold the art for a little while, then we pass it on. And the only way we matter is if we do that with everything we have."